Hello everyone, it's Graham from Lakeside, and I thought this video I would do a kit, or rather a download kit. So not a Metcalf one where it's pre-cut, pre-folded, etc. It's straight from the internet, which I bought, downloaded and printed out, which you see here. So I thought I'd just go through initially the basics, so tools, and the kit itself. So the kit itself in this particular instance is reasonably short. There's not a huge amount to it, but it plays an important part on Lakeside. Now I've got three major things which I need to do next on Lakeside. One is, as you know, the car park and the positioning of it, so that I can run the wire for the Fuller system through the car park and back out again, and doing the points to change the route so that I can either go all the way around without going into the car park, or I can choose to go into the car park. So that's one thing. And the other thing is the station entrance and the bits and pieces which make up the entrance to the platforms. So I'm working on the entrance at the moment, and I can tell you now what that is going to consist of is the entrance itself, and then it's going to have a lift down to the platform, and that lift I'm going to have working. So it's going to be glass panelled, and you'll be able to see the lift going up and down. And there'll be people inside it, of course, and then when it gets to the bottom, you then have to walk to a slight walk to the try to think of the name, the stairwell for the underpass. Had a brain knock there for some reason. Okay, so and this kit is the stairwell to the underpass between one platform and the other, and it gives you two choices. It gives you either steps or a elevator. So I'm going to choose the elevator side of it, purely because I want it so that the lift and the elevator is for wheelchairs, etc., so that disabled people can manoeuvre between the road and going all the way through the platform system. That's the theory of it anyway. Now obviously I've got to make do with the elevator which I've got in the kit, and no doubt the steps in the elevator probably won't be quite wide enough for wheelchairs, but you're just going to have to use your imagination and that it's adaptable. I know that on some elevators they have just a smooth ramp which goes up and down. This one's got steps. So anyway, that's beside the point. That's what I'm going to build for this, and I need two of them. So what I've done from the kit, which I got from Scalescenes again, and it's a platform subway R006, and these are the instructions here, and there's 4 pages of them which I've printed out on just ordinary thin paper. No need to go anything fancy on that. And then I have printed out the sheets for making the kit, and this is printed out on 170 GSM matte paper, good quality matte paper, because you know, you want good quality prints on here. So it's the best you can get for your inkjet printer. Mine's a Canon, and you set it to the highest setting. So I've printed two sets out because I want one set for one platform and another set for the other platform. So go down one subway, along, and then up the other subway. So there's two to build, but obviously I'll just show you the one. And the reason I'm doing it is because I've had quite a few questions as regards how easy it is to, or how difficult, depending on how you look at it, how easy or difficult it is to build a kit from a downloaded kit. So I will start off, let's put this lot away, with the tools you need. And these are the basic tools which I've got in front of me. So it's a square to begin with and a steel rule. So the steel rule is used for cutting, squaring up if you need to. I can take this off and use that as a square to make sure walls are perpendicular to the flat. So that's quite important. A sanding block. And I use this, and it's got an old piece of sandpaper on it. I don't want it too rough, it's quite fine. So when I've finished cutting the bits out, I can just rub the edges very gently to give me a smooth finish. A Stanley knife for heavy duty cutting, and a scalpel with a brand new blade in it. And I will probably change this at least 2 or 3 times during the course of doing this kit, at least. Absolutely no point at all in having a blunt scalpel blade. It needs to be as sharp as you can possibly get. So make sure that scalpel blade is sharp. I only need 2 kinds of glue for this. One is your normal stock rocket hard glue from Deluxe Materials for the lighter weight paper, and some stick glue. This is the extra sticky version which I got from a hobby store. It was £1 for a stick and it lasts a long time, so it's good value for money. Some super glue should I require it. I doubt if I'll need it on this particular kit, but always handy to have just in case. Lastly but not least is a set of Sharpies for running over the edges of the kit, so that you don't have the white line showing from the cut card. And bear with me a minute, I'll just get the card because I forgot to get that out. So the mounting board, which you glue some of the kit onto, is 2mm mounting board, and it's specially coated one side and plain on the reverse here. So this is the reverse, that's a specially coated side, and that's the side which you mount on. So with all that now ready, it's time for starting the kit itself. Now on the kit, on this particular kit anyway, let me just get a couple of sheets. It gives you the option, or well, it tells you, not the option really, whether you just cut that straight out without mounting it on the board and use it as it is, or it says here, for instance, heavy card. So I know with this particular sheet, or this section of the sheet, that I've got to mount that on the mounting board, and then cut these sections out. Now it says along here, this line here, cut a long line before mounting onto card, and that's because this section here is just purely used as the print itself. That section is the section which gets mounted onto heavier card, but it is very easily identified by this here and this here. It tells you what needs to be mounted where. So, armed with my instructions, and the instructions on these sheets as well, I can now go ahead and start building this kit up. So this is going to be one, and there's five, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 sheets which I need to cut out. I won't need to cut all this out because it gives you the options of either using the elevator or using steps, and I've chosen to use the elevator, and I think it's on the last page. Yeah, so there are the sides of the elevator. So it gives you the rubber banding at the top here, where it goes along and up and back round again. And I know for a fact that I have to use a felt tip pen and then ink in on the edge to continue the banding, the black banding of the rubber. So that gives you an idea of what I'm going to end up with, something like that, all within a underpass shell. So let's crack on, and hopefully by the end of this video I'll have one built. Okay, and I will just be showing you how I mount things on the card to give you an idea. Okay, I won't do the whole video with me making it, just parts of it. Alright, so I will speak to you again in a minute. So I've now cut a piece of mounting board off the larger sheet, just so that it's more easily to manage, to be honest with you. So that's now ready for me to mount the first part of the kit onto the mounting board. So again, I've cut this out, and also the second part, which is the overlay, which is the printed version. So in effect what you do, you mount that on the board, that gives you the base, and then you cut this out and you lay that over the top and glue it down to it. So I'll do this section next. And all I do is run some of this on the mounting board, make sure you've got the right surface on the upside of the mounting board. One tool I forgot to mention was the roller. You'll need a roller just to roll that firmly onto the mounting board. And then you can start cutting that area out. So now I've got two halves of the base cut out. I now need to cut this out and glue it and overlay this onto each one of those. So I will turn the camera off now and cut this out. Okay, so same process as what I've done there. Hello again. Right, the other tool I forgot to tell you about, apart from the roller, is a cup of coffee or tea or beer or whatever your tipple is. I have coffee. So I've now got the basic components now laid out for the sidewalls of the subway. So that was one of the pieces you saw before, now mounted on mounting board and cut out. And this one here is one of the overlays which goes on that piece there, which is then glued on and wrapped around, and I'll show you that process now. So the first thing to do is to put some glue on the mounting board. Then the instructions say to glue this on the back of that. So that's what I'll do. And then the instructions says to flip that section over onto that part I've just glued down. And what I do is I very lightly score there, and then again very lightly score there and flip it over. And it allows you a little bit of access at the end to trim off. So all I need to do now is glue that. Like so. So then that leaves me that section to do exactly the same as what I've just done here. All I need to do now is to go around and trim any excess off. And then with my sanding block, and so you end up with your first sidewall, and that's the inner edge there. Okay, so now all I've got to do is to do that one exactly the same, and then we start the next section. So I'll come back to you then. Hello again. Right, now we come to an interesting part of the kit, and that's actually producing one set of the stairs. And so if you remember, I said that there are two parts really to the kit, and that is the what they call the overlay, which is the image itself. So here you can see the escalator steps here, and the other part is that's your whole set there running all the way through, and the other set is the actual mounting, the boards themselves. So you've got these sheets which you glue onto mounting board. So you end up with, if I take this one which I've tried, you end up with two bits. So you end up with the board, the mounting board with the correct cutout for it, and then you have the corresponding overlay here, which you then glue on and wrap. So you end up with, if I can do that, you end up with a step. And so you have to do that on each of these steps, glue that to that, that to that, that to that, and so on. And then you take the longest one and you treat that as the base, and then you glue that one on top of that, that one on top of that, that one on top of that, until you get a step of escalator steps. So that's the next process for me to do, is to glue all this lot on, that onto that, that onto that, then glue the whole lot together, glue the whole lot together, and then I have to repeat it again for this set of steps, because there's an up escalator and a down escalator. So I will now carry on and glue this lot up, and then unfortunately I've got to do the whole same process again for the other set. So it takes a little while, but it's fun. If you just want to while away the time, then this is a very therapeutic thing to do. Okay, so I will carry on and do this, and probably what I will do is to do this in speeded up version, so you see me working through this. Okay, so I'll speak to you again in a minute. Hello again. Right, this is the following day from the previous video. I had to do some other work, so I gave up on this and thought I'd make a fresh start today. But I've got on rather well, and I've now got a sub-assembly, not glued together, but you can see the effects of the escalator coming together. I'll say not glued yet, but that's the next stage. And that is a sidewall which fits on there, like so. And then of course on the other side, that's the only bit there which sticks up on the platform. All this under here, and obviously the steps, that goes underneath the platform. So my next step is to do the remaining side, this one here, for this side. So I thought I would show you the process of cutting it out and gluing both sides, and the reason being is that, let's put that to one side, the reason being is that you have to glue down one surface on a piece of card, cut that out and glue the other side, which is this one, on the other side, which will be kind of like that. So let's go ahead and do that. And the reason I want to show you this one is that it contains curves which you've got to cut around, and I just want to go through that briefly with you, how I do it anyway. So the first thing is to get your straight edge and scalpel. I've got a new scalpel blade in this, and we start cutting. So that is your basic shape now cut out. So all I want to do now is to go over and just sand these radiuses on here, just very lightly. It's only cardboard, so it's going to go down very quickly. So that's the hardest part really, because you're cutting through card as well. Now we have to do the same to the paper for gluing to the other side. Now, because these are very accurate, I know that when I cut this out, it's going to lay over the top exactly, he says. So that's the basic shape cut out. And let's hope that when we turn that over and place that over, it's going to line up, which it does. So I can now safely glue that on. You can hear that noise in the background, that's the dishwasher, sorry about that. Right, just a quick sand now to take off any edges. Then with black felt tip pen, you just go, this is the rubber handrail which goes around top. And so what you need to do, you need to go over with a black felt tip pen to create that rubber band. Okay, so that now gives us the 4 sides to the escalator. Guessing a bit missing there. Like so. So what I can now do, sub-assembly again, check it out. So there you have your basics. I've got to put all the warding on here yet, but that is the next stage, is to glue that lot together. So we'll do that now. Have a slurp from my Sparky 107 coffee mug. What I will do is just sand the inside of the steps, which I glue together just to get rid of any highlights there, or high spots rather. Okay, so that's all the components. So the first thing to glue is the center section, which is this one, onto one side of the steps or the escalator, and then the other side. So that's the first stage. So let's do that first. And this time I'll use the rocket card glue to do that. Okay, so that's the escalator steps now in position either side of the center section. So now we need to put on the outside ones. Again, just check for fit. The paper has been rendered in a concrete. That's because some people may want these above the platform, so they provide it so that if you do want it above the platform, it's already done for you, so you haven't got to put any paper or rendering on this side. But in this case it's going under the platform, so this will be covered up. So that is your basically nearly finished article. I've just got to put on the finishing edges, the bit across here, the floor, and then we're done. So I will cut those out, stick them on card if it's needed, and come back to you. Okay, so see you in a minute. Hello, right, it's basically finished. So all the walls are on now, flooring, and really you're not going to see a huge amount when it's underneath or on top of the platform. That part there is what all that lot goes underneath the platform, so all this is what appears above, but you get the effect when you look down. So also I will put some people on down here going up and down the escalators, and all in all I'm really pleased with this kit. It's not a very big kit obviously, but It's taken probably about 4 hours to do in total. And yeah, it's I've just got to do the other side now, so it's exactly the same process to get the other left hand side. All I'm going to do now is to cut a hole in the platform so that I can slot that into it. It'll have to come up from underneath, and then this part here is a finishing trim which goes around the outside like that to hide up the join, and also this little tiny piece here is a tread step for the, if I can position it roughly, for the getting onto the escalator. So once it's in position, it should look really nice, and I may even put a light inside there to show the footwell, which will look rather nice at night. So yeah, very pleased with it. That's the first stage of the going from the road down the lift, which, as I said to you earlier, will be working, onto the platform, and then down an escalator to cross over to the other side of the station to the other platform. And that will negate any bridges going across. The only bridge really will be the one from the road to the lift, and that will be a very short section. So build this, the second version, and then I can then concentrate on the lift and the main entrance to the station. So there you go. And I think that's quite a nice little kit for £2.50, I think it was. There you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Primarily, I've shown you this just so that you get an idea or a feel for what's involved on download videos, sorry, not download videos, downloading kits to build out of cardboard, which is basically what it is. So there you go, job done. On to the next one. Okay, so bye for now, and take care. Bye.